Welcome to Insight, everyone. I'm Nnamdi Odipo. For most people, and for good reasons too, national security is the capacity of the government to protect and defend its citizens, the economy and institutions as well. But be that as it may, we know for a fact that the mandate of national security is not the sole responsibility of government. Citizens and institutions also play critical roles as well. As the fourth estate of the realm, the media particularly play a crucial role in the process of national security. However, current occurrences and media hype and sensationalism of national security issues have begun to question the true stake of the Nigerian media in our continued existence as a corporate and united entity. Well, that's a major topic for discussion on these episodes, but we would also review some change elements and how these could be deployed as tools to engender patriotism. Elizabeth Omori is on hand to bring us some of those details.
Well, on the media review segment this week, we will focus on photography as a tool of change and communication.
Very well, then let's begin the conversation. My first guest is Nigeria's first female professor of mass communication who has served in various capacities as an administrator and educationist. Professor Chinyere Stella Okuna joins me live via Zoom from Awka, Anambra State's capital. Welcome to the program, Prof.
Thank you, Nnamdi.
I'm quite excited to have you here, Prof. There is absolutely no doubt that society requires a thriving fact-based media, and that helps us to lay a foundation for our discussion, Prof. But, beyond the traditional functions of the media, there are other core functions also captured in theory and practice. Whether it is agenda-setting functions or gatekeeping functions, the media is the conscience of the people. So, Prof, let's begin by establishing that mandate and how critical it is for the media to perform these core duties for the betterment of society.
Each time I speak about the media, I emphasize that in the modern world, there's no other power, no other group of people, no other institution that can do what the media do in society. The press, particularly in a democracy, has been described as the oxygen of democracy. Because if you remove the press and its function, democracy will die. Like if you deprive a living creature of oxygen. And this is basically because there's no other institution that can gather efficiently, package professionally, and disseminate also effectively the quantity and quality of information required to make democracy work. So the press has a standard position in a democracy. And if that position is threatened, democracy dies. Look at the press. What do we do? First of all, agenda setting, like we mentioned. Of all the things that the world, it is the journalist, the press can gather the information and tell us what is going on. And every single day, people look at what you thought happened isn't in the media. You think it wasn't important. So the press tells us what to think about, tells us what has happened, and sets the agenda for society. And once an item gets on the media agenda, people see it as very important, very relevant, and begin to think about those issues. It's also called status conferral. By simply reporting an issue, the media confers status, legitimacy, importance on that issue, and people begin to think about it. It's also called framing. Framing is a step beyond agenda setting. Agenda setting tells you what to think about. Framing tells you how to think about that thing.
Yes.
Because it narrows the issue into a small microcosm to allow you to think definitely about those things. So the media really are powerful. That's the conclusion. And that power must be let loose to work for society.
Prof, you're taking me back to school, and it's nostalgic. I mean, the feeling and all of that as it comes back. But then it's good we've we've laid the groundwork for this conversation. And so, Prof, having said that, I'd like for us to distinguish the two parallels which form the core of our discussion, really, in carrying out its responsibilities, whether in truth, in honesty and accountability, as its watchword. The media is compelled to put everything on the table. But sometimes that truth could conflict with other equally sensitive matters. Take security, for instance. My question to you, Prof, is whether it is practically possible outside of the realm of ideal to balance truth and certain matters emanating from national exigencies which could threaten collective peace, for instance.
For a journalist who has sworn, so to say, to do the work of journalism, it should be doable. For others who are not genuine journalists, they could chicken out. But for properly trained freedom journalists, it should be. Now, what is that function? At one extreme, the basic function for the press is to be the watchdog of society. You know what a watchdog does? A watchdog stays at your gate where you, the house owner, you are comfortably sleeping in your bed. It is the duty of the watchdog watching your compound. And if any danger threatens, or if there's any danger is smelled, what does the dog do? It barks. And the barking alerts that something is about to happen. And he or she wakes up. That's one extreme.
Okay.
And if the press is not doing that, the press has woefully failed in its function. It must do that watchdog function. Otherwise, it is not a genuine press system. But then in societies like ours, even in some advanced societies, there's the other extreme, which we call the lap dog. The lap dog is a foolish dog that doesn't watch over anybody. The lap dog just stays on the owner's lap, and you're being fed titbits and given milk and biscuits and other delicacies. A lap dog is dead as far as I'm concerned. So how do we steer the middle ground? How do we become the watchdog in society without antagonizing people, antagonizing the government? We don't criticize extremely. We talk about constructive criticism. But criticize, we must, as the press. If I don't believe in the press antagonizing, attacking the government for any small thing, peddling hate speech, peddling fake news, if you do that, you are an unethical journalist.
Constructively now being the line in between, Prof.
Yeah, constructive criticism. You must criticize when government doesn't do the right thing. You must alert government. You must back. But you don't keep backing and biting to the extreme that everybody is pissed off.
Prof, I understand that it is simply not excusable to ignore certain facts and hold government accountable for its actions. But, Prof, I'm talking about an emerging set of reporters and journalists from the other extreme that you've mentioned, who feel that the need to tell all is greater than any moral justification not to do so. Is this somewhat of a chicken and egg situation, Prof, or is the journalist caught somewhere between and somewhere in between, and is fast losing human sensibilities, as it were, just so that the headlines can be more sensational, no matter the cost?
I think that's the height of unethical journalism. People keep criticizing the press for thriving on bad news. They say when something good happens, like development journalism, I'm sure you remember development journalism, where they say the press should support government in national development. And people are saying, you don't so become slavish in doing DEFCON that you forget you also have to watch over what the government is doing. The press must watch government and must alert government commandment when things are going wrong. We are saying you must alert them responsibly, not like a rabble rouser, not through attack and everything. But you must watch society and raise the alarm when government is not doing well, when things are going wrong. If you don't do that, you don't belong to this profession.
Prof, I'm sure you're familiar with the ghost and donkey story, where the ghost, and for those who are not familiar with it, maybe I should just bring it up. The ghost, where the ghost freed a donkey tied to a tree, and then the donkey, upon being freed, destroyed crops belonging to a farmer. The farmer's wife, in annoyance, killed the donkey. The owner of the said donkey went on to kill the farmer's wife, and that was how the revenge killing went on until it engulfed just about everybody. And then, in realization of what had happened, the owner of the farm went to the ghost and asked the ghost, why did you kill everybody? And then the ghost replied, I did not kill anybody, I just released the donkey. It was you people, every other person involved, that unleashed the demon in them and started killing people. So, Prof, I guess, I mean, I haven't brought this to mind. I mean, my question to you is this: is the media, I mean, the writer of this story, or whoever told the story, likened today's media to the ghost that releases donkey? And today we see the media in Nigeria releasing donkeys every day, and then average Nigerians, taking advantage of this to now halt and maim each other. I mean, Prof, we are at that stage now where we begin to question just how much stake the Nigerian media has in the continued, unity, in the our continued existence as a corporate body. We know the history of the media in the past and how much the media has done. Is the media straying from that path?
It depends on which path you are talking about. If you remember, the very beginning of the media in Nigeria, during the colonial days, the media fought vehemently, fought colonialism, and if the battle was won, the media were right at the forefront of the fight. But then the white man is gone. We have a Nigeria that we all believe in. We have a Nigeria where those who witnessed the Civil War do not want a repeat of that kind of thing. So every responsible journalist must stay the middle ground to make sure you don't flame the embers of conflict and disunity through religious reporting or underreporting or whatever, and raising too much alarm and biting so hard and releasing the ghost that Nigeria disintegrates. I don't think anybody wants that. Any responsible person wants that. There are ethnic agitations.
Yes.
For secession.
Yes.
But those who saw the Civil War do not want that.
But Prof, we're seeing that play out already. Yeah, we're seeing reporters filing reports with ethnic colorations, inciting violence in certain parts of the country, and we're seeing it time and time again.
No, I think it's irresponsible. First of all, there are stages in this kind of reporting. You must believe, first of all, in a united Nigeria. If you don't believe in it, maybe it is those who don't believe in it that are doing the things you're saying they're doing now. Because if you believe, let's say the Yoruba should secede or the southeastern states should go, there's no way you can be reporting anything that will preach unity. So where do we stand? Do we believe in one Nigeria? There are dangers there too. To believe in one Nigeria, to love Nigeria, those who are at the helm of affairs must excite love and loyalty and patriotism in Nigerians. Are you following? The onus lies on the leaders of the land, the rulers of the land, to so conduct themselves that Nigerians will become patriotic and be filled with love for the nation.
Okay, Prof, I get that.
Yeah.
I'd like to have your thoughts on on Kadiri Ahmed's message to the media. It has been making the rounds on social media for a bit now, for a while. And I'd like to play back a portion of that message and get your feel on the issues she raised. If we have that tape now, I'd like for us to just roll it. And Prof, you can then listen and then we can go ahead with the question.
Despite numerous examples that exist, which have proved, including not too long ago in Rwanda, that the conduct of the media can help in promoting, starting and perpetuating violence and ethnic troubles, we have turned a deaf ear to pleas to not become a tool that enables hate. But we have failed to heed these warnings. We have given platforms to the worst among us, the extremists and the bloodthirsty. We have turned militia leaders and criminals into champions. Instead of us to lead calm and rational discourse on the existential challenges we face with a view to promoting actionable solutions, we have succumbed to hysteria and the next exciting clickbait headline.
Again, Prof, I'm sure you listened to that, Prof, carefully. Kadiria raises the issue of the media's knack for sensational headlines. Prof, is it not possible to throw up conversations on issues of ethnicity, restructuring, and security, and not give platforms to those who cause more division than good? Ideally and realistically, how challenging is that for the media? And is setting agenda on the discourse and gatekeeping on the same issue mutually exclusive?
I'm sure you remember the theories of the press. That even the libertarian theory didn't work. There's no part of the world where the press is absolutely free because there are laws of the land. There are things you cannot say in the press. And the law says, if you remember the social responsibility theory, give the press freedom to say things. But the press should control itself. If it doesn't control itself, the government has the right to control it. So I agree. To do the work the press has to do, they require freedom. When the freedom exceeds bounds, society has a right to call the press to order. I don't believe in extremism. There are things at this critical time the media should be very, very careful about saying. Ethnicity is rising, religion is rising, and the press, as the watchdog society, should be watching what is going on and try to contribute their quota to make sure the country doesn't explode. That is development journalism, helping to make sure. But like I said earlier, the country has to be deserving of loyalty and peace. So those who are ruling country should not play into the hands of extremist journalists. It's important, but extremism cannot be allowed. I see hate speech, I see fake news. It's all happening now. And the press is at the precipice. They need to be very careful what they talk about, how we talk about it. But for goodness sake, we cannot keep quiet. If things are going wrong, we should criticize constructively, draw government's attention to the issues, and government should also work hard to treat people well and earn their love and loyalty.
Prof, you've just raised the issue of fake news and made allusions to the new media. So there is the issue of the new media, but then there's also the imperatives for the truth and ascertaining the facts against fake news. At the moment, it will seem very unpopular and likely impossible to regulate and censor new media platforms. But considering some of the damaging, unsubstantiated, and clearly false reportage associated with the social media and citizen journalism in a lot of cases, can you suggest a structure that can allow a thriving new media, yet one that regulates itself with some bit of outside control?
No, the danger lies in the journalists who call themselves citizen journalists. Some of them are not trained. And I'm sure you know the basic training of a journalist. One core course there is ethics. Many of them have no idea. And it's near impossible for now. Maybe they'll get the technology. Even the Western world is trying. they haven't been able to control the social media. Everybody is trying. They have not succeeded. So for now, it's ethical journalism we're preaching now, because there's no technology yet to control what happens. So journalists, whether they are citizen journalists or they are regular journalists, should be careful now. And that is why journalism, like we are training students to be, like you're doing now, is the standard thing. If you hear anything on the social media, you still run back to NTA, you still run back to channels, you still go back to newspapers to confirm. For now, there's no yardstick. You know, Nigeria tried to introduce the social media bill. It hasn't worked.
Yes.
See, the uprising against it. They saw it as a government way of controlling the media. It could be, it may not be. But extremism is creeping in, and those who are training journalists should emphasize ethics and what is acceptable. They should emphasize responsibility and what is allowed or not. If the extremism continues, the society has to punish and set examples of good journalism. But for now, there's nothing we can do about it. I don't believe in that bill, the social media bill. It could control the press and gag the press. I don't believe also in people opening their mouth anyhow without control. So we must find a middle ground.
Yes.
To make sure they're doing the right thing. If they go to the extreme, they should be fished out individually and punished responsibly without jeopardizing press freedom, which must exist in a democracy.
Prof, in our line of work, there is a 100% percentage certainty that we will continue to face situations that test our moral compass. Just so we hear you loud and clear, Prof, what should form the fulcrum of an investigative yet delicate report, which contains what the people should ordinarily know, yet could place, say, the country on the precipice of conflict, for instance?
The word is responsibility. The other word is ethics, ethical journalism. Because I'll say several times, but what is going on in Nigeria today, in all sectors, in education, we have the largest number of out-of-school children in the world. In health, our system is not good enough. Insecurity is the worst. The press cannot keep quiet in the face of all these happenings. I'm sure you remember the word Afghanistanism in reporting, when journalists who are afraid leave the key things happening in their society and begin to talk about Afghanistan that is so far away that doesn't concern anybody here. Journalists cannot do that. It's a major ethical problem. So you must talk about these issues in your own society. You must draw attention to what is going on here, but you must do that responsibly. If you keep quiet, that's a major failing as a journalist. You're not doing well. If you talk too loud and criticize and condemn and attack and destroy and precipitate crisis and a civil war or division or anarchy, you are again irresponsible. Again, like you said here, a middle ground, the press must. You're not talking, you should leave the profession and go and open a supermarket somewhere in Obuete market or Alaba. If you're talking, you must talk and criticize responsibly. That's the word. And I say that everywhere.
Prof, I feel like I should turn this into my own classroom now. I mean, given that in the normal class or usual class you will be in charge, I feel like this is my class, and so I'm in charge. So I'll ask you a pointed question, Prof. Is the irresponsible journalist, is the irresponsible journalist a reflection of society, or society is a reflection society is a reflection of the irresponsible journalist? Which is the product and which is the causes, or which is the dependable variable and which is the independable variable? Yeah.
Both of them are independent and independent and dependent. Because my dear boy, it works two ways. Like I said earlier, the rulers of the land must work harder to create a conducive environment for development and well-being. The poverty level is way too high. Nigerians are suffering, everything, many things are going wrong. But it's not peculiar to Nigeria.
It is not.
Things are going wrong, even in the advanced world. You can see demonstrations everywhere. So responsibility begins with the rulers of the land. Work harder, spend public money for public good. Work on all the sectors of society and improve quality of life. That's one thing. I'm sure if that happens, Nigerians will love this country more. They won't try to escape, and they won't try to kill it with criticism. That's one. Then the press, having raised the alarm, encourage government. If they get it right, commend them, and don't keep destroying everything. The Nigerian press, some of them are so extreme, they don't see anything good in governance, as if it's a war between them. Particularly in a developing country like ours, the media and the government must work hand in hand in development journalism to develop. I don't see it as lapdog. Some people think if you're praising government in any way, you're a lapdog. It is not true. My people say if you praise somebody in what he has done, he does more. If you praise a man who has killed a chicken, he will kill a goat.
Very true.
And he kills a goat, you commend him, he kills a cow. It's a two-way thing. For our own part of the world, where democracy is still fragile, the press must be responsible, more responsible. But our leaders also need to sit up and create a society where we will love and cherish and be loyal to. But I think some aspects of the Nigerian media are way impossible in their reporting. They are too antagonistic. They are too attack dogism. They should be called to order. They should please reconsider. For those of us who I saw the Civil War as a child, as a very young person. But I still remember the images. We should not go down that path again. Whatever is there, the press should help society and the government to reach an amicable solution where harmony is created, where people are supporting their nation, loving their nation, putting Nigeria first, and reporting, agenda setting, status conferring status on those who are doing well, conferring status in topics and issues that are worthy of being discussed, and then framing things in a way that will guide public opinion and the views and the conduct of Nigerians. That is a responsible press system.
Prof, I hear you, and I hear you loudly. Nigeria's first female professor of mass communication, former Dean Social Sciences, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, former member, National Universities Commission, former Commissioner for Information and Culture, Anambra State, Professor Chinyere Stella Okunna. It's been a delight speaking with you on this very, very delicate matter. Your views are profound, and I'm sure a lot of my colleagues nationwide have been taking notes as you've been speaking. Thank you so much for coming on Inside, Prof.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Coming up next, a branding and packaging guru speaks on how packaging can be deployed as a national asset.
Sont comme le bon vin, ils donnent de la joie ou bien du chagrin. Affaibli par la forme, je suis malheureux. Volant ton chemin, tout ça que je peux, car rien n'est gratuit dans la vie.
My director just described that as amala with levels. I'm sure that is not how many of us eat our amala and gbegiri soup, but that, my friend, is the power of packaging. And I assure you that that established amala brand, I mean, it's very popular here in Nigeria. That can sell as an international cuisine. Well, while I may be keen to taste and savor that amala, my next conversation is more on the value of branding and packaging and how Nigeria can benefit from, say, packaging sellable products, whether tangible or intangible. My guest is Sani Gauba. He is the Chief Executive Officer, Business Visa International, a branding and packaging outfit, keen on projecting everything made in Nigeria. Welcome to Insight.
Thank you very much.
Let's begin with some of what you're already doing. It's already been done by your group in partnership with some federal government ministries. And I am referring to the hub created to register a variety of Nigerian products that can be packaged and showcased, and that can be packaged to showcase Nigeria's uniqueness. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, you see, when it comes to packaging, we have to be very, very careful and copying or try to imitate some cultural or to satisfy some communities out there. And you see, when you bring up Amala, with what he does there, he's quite artistic. But then, look back to the history of Amala. You have more to offer as a
That
Nigerian.
is actually a local chef,
Absolutely,
in Nigeria.
Yeah. But he tried to use accessories. The best way you asked me to consume amala is by your bare hands.
Okay.
So let's go back to that cultural, and you have the better taste when you do that.
And we can sell that even abroad to foreigners?
Well, if you sell that, I believe you should try to give out the best you can,
Okay.
and the best method to consume it. I tell you, when you are in that dining and you were served that amala, and you now take one or two, you will not say you're done. So
Okay.
we better face the reality.
Okay.
We have history maybe 100 years back when Isamala has been our own cultural thing. So we should now introduce the best way, encourage people. We shouldn't be ashamed of our background, Nigeria, and our food items. We know the way they are now. People outside there come, modify them their own way, which has no history. And we go there, they will say they will serve you amala. Coming from your own
Sani,
end.
the point is that amala is best consumed with your bare hands, right?
Absolutely. Ask our
Okay.
leaders
Okay.
who are behind amala from inception. So we should be at the lead. But if the best way to serve amala is in our local cuisine, you can see back in Mina, when people are saying, look, we have to use a certain firewood to get the real taste of a meal.
Sani, very quickly, let's go to the issue of your collaboration and work with several federal ministries on made in Nigerian products. As a matter of fact, you have gone ahead to create a hub where you've registered products, made in Nigerian products that you think showcase the uniqueness of Nigeria.
Yes, so far so good. You see, if we want to sell our own product, and we should first embrace it and also know how it comes about. I know most of us, we didn't plan to be a Nigerian first. We are destined to be Nigerians. So we should have that behind our mind and be proud of it. No matter where you go, Nigeria is your first identity.
Very true.
Go to America or elsewhere, be their best person there, serve them, you are still Nigerian America.
Yes, indeed.
So why are we deceiving ourselves? So if we accepted that, come back home, make your home great, so that you will now be proud to say, yes, I am Nigerian first before American. Americans, they are smart. There are a couple of nations come together to make up American. And Nigeria is part of those nations. And they just pick our best to be part of that great nation. So, please, Nigerians, if we can just accept that, we should now go out there, get the training, come at the level ground and make it happen. That's the only way you will get that respect If you go there and say there is no level ground, you want to stay in there, they keep tapping you till when you're old age, they'll bring your corpse to bury here. That's totally unacceptable. If you say there is no level ground, before you leave Nigeria, the level ground you will identify is Nigeria first. Who did you leave behind to now put that level ground for you to come and enjoy it? All the offers they are giving you, those are peanuts, incentives. They will even extend it to your own family. Say, come, we'll give you all what you need. How much will you need with your family? It's a small budget to them. And who did you leave behind? And you will still be calling us local. Man. So please, let's have the nation first before any other thing. And we have histories that you will be so proud to be part of any tribe in Nigeria. Our cuisine, our products must count in any aspect, and you should set up a standard for anybody to give it a trial, because most of them, they grow naturally. No addictive. Don't be lured into flavors. They can take one bag of coffee here and make 1,000 of it, bring it back to sell you each one with a flavor, not the original, at a cheaper price, thinking you're buying something cheap. You're not doing yourself good. That flavor coffee is not the same as the original coffee that was taken here. So if we will just appreciate our own goods, come back. Nobody else will do it for us. If we refuse to talk or refuse to introduce these things, nobody will do. We are here lying in Nigeria, having foreign agents to other companies. They will come to our country, not even just now going to village markets. They go deep into our farmlands. Both of these things.
In rural communities.
Absolutely right. Both of these things, get it out there, modify them, make them lesser quantity. You know, if you're into business, definitely what usually is being brought to Africa is a lesser quantity. It's not what, quality. It's not what they consume in the country that they send for Africa. Export goods are separate.
Sani, sorry to butt in here, but I mean, you're not saying. I mean, this is something that we've talked about time and time again, and I don't know. It's actually confusing for me why we're still where we are. As a matter of fact, listening to you, I mean, something registers almost immediately, and that is your point that what must happen first and foremost is the realization of value.
That's right.
And the willingness by Nigerians to fully embrace, that for national gains.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't get it. Why that has changed on a significant note for many made in Nigerian products in some areas. Take clothing, for instance. Take the entertainment industry for instance as well. It hasn't changed so much in other equally important areas.
Yes.
What do you consider some of the drawback factors inhibiting this clarity of mind and acknowledgement that eventually we must produce and we must consume mostly that which is ours? Or is it a case of packaging not sending the right messages?
Yes, my brother. Packaging stuff is just a name.
Okay.
You see,
so it's an issue of, it's a perception issue for us.
Yes. You see, let me take it on from here. When we say a national issue thing or a change, it doesn't just spring on its own. You have to initiate that. So if we should start it up, we have grown up our younger generations who have gone out there well educated. But what happens if they come into a par status? You will not allow them to explore independently what they have learned. You will put them through your usual ways of doing jobs, or ironically, you will now say you have been appointed to be in charge of some parastatals or even a ministerial post. You will go to a retired person there, not asking for his blessing, but asking him for advice. He has exhausted what he knows. Just ask for his advice. You are now the one at the forefront. Exhibit your latest technologies and advances. Most of these retired personnel whom we need their blessings, and it stops there, not their advices on the job any longer. Some, we have gone past digital issues. Look at our competitors, right? There's no comparison. So why are you bothering the old man? Just seek for his blessing and you move on. And if you now go and cage yourself and said, okay, I come for advices, and he now insisted that go and work with this man, and you know the capacity of that man he assigned to you, he can't meet up. If you refuse to do so,
Sani, I beg to differ, because if you're talking about inclusiveness,
yes,
and whether or not there's been some room or latitude given to young persons, young entrepreneurs in Nigeria to operate and to be creative, that has been done. I mean, I'm not just talking about this government alone. Successive governments have tried to open up the space. Maybe not as much as they deserve, or not as much as these young entrepreneurs, you know, would want. But there's the ease of doing business. There are initiatives and platforms put out there for young persons to embrace, to be creative, you know, to put themselves out there, to contribute their quota to development. So I would not agree completely that the room has not been created or the platform has not been made. Yes, there are still challenges, subsisting challenges, and we're getting there. But my point and my question to you really is, how do we begin to change? And very quickly too, because we're fast running out of time. I mean, you are a champion for Made in Nigeria. I've asked you the question about your work in that regard so far with ministries. I've asked you again about the inhibitions. What is the way forward, going forward, Sani?
Well, let's narrow it down to this. And actually, this government has gave a level ground.
Yes.
For us to now showcase our own products, and you can see what they've been doing, dashing out money there, giving donations, and you can tell from the reaction of the public and also the entrepreneurs. So what we do differently with this government is that we advise them that, look, when they get us on board, we said the whole challenges is first, identify the market.
Okay.
When you identify the market, there will be a demand, expansion of demand. And how will they come up with the market? We said it's easy. You're not going to come up with anything different or a separate budget. There are needs for these items that entrepreneurs are engaged in, which government agencies patronizes these items, like say biscuits, our local drinks, soaps. If you now narrow it that, check for instance NTA, they have a huge budget for beverages maybe, and other ministries. So if you are now saying that, let's see how much budget, and let's engage some entrepreneurs to now take advantage, you should produce, our expenditure on soap only is maybe 10 million. Then engage some entrepreneurs to be supplying you those 10 million worth of soap. You have saved them. You have encouraged them. You have created the market without stress. And so other beverages. And again, if you come to the outlets of another selling point is this. This is our product. But if you engage anybody to say, okay, I need this varieties to make a choice, there isn't any marketplace for this. So we should create a hub for all this cuisine and different outlets and set up our own standard. You don't expect someone out there to set your own standard. And also describe the best way to consume it. So when we demonstrate at home, you can see, let me take you back home. I mean, back...
very quickly, in less than 30 seconds, actually, because we're out of time.
This is a national issue, too. I tell you
I get that, Sani, but I would create another platform for us to further this conversation. I can assure you of that.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, Sani, I would not let you land with the points you were going to make because we're completely out of time now. But like I said earlier, just a couple of seconds ago, I will create another avenue for us to continue this conversation. It's a national issue, like you said, and it's quite an important one at that. Sani Gauba, Chief Executive Officer, Business Visa International, a branding and packaging outfit, keen on projecting made in Nigerian product. I want to thank you so much for coming on Insight. It's been a pleasure speaking with you on this matter. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Over the years, photography has proven to be one of the most powerful tools to express a decisive moment. This form of art is a universal tool of communication embraced by journalism as well as other fields. What makes photography exceptional, and how can it remain relevant in global arts? My guest, Bayo Omoboriowo, is the official photographer to the President and founder Unabashed Creativity Foundation, will shed light on the topic of discuss and prefer ways to using this form of art as a tool of social change. Mr. Bayo, thank you so much for coming on Insights.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for inviting me on this beautiful platform.
Thank you. I'm sure most Nigerians would like to know your journey to the State House as the official photographer of the President.
I finished from University of Lagos with 4.26 CGPA, pure and applied chemistry. And then I found myself at my NYSC campground photographing, and the old camp was looking for me. They wanted me to take their picture. And from there, as an NYSC core member, people picked up on me because they felt, oh, a copper taking picture, and this was year 2010. And they picked interest on me, and I was lucky enough to find people that mentored me, that held on to me, that showed me the ways around. And that was how it started. And from passion to me pushing around, finding friends and mentors that love what I do and were ready to push me to do more. That's how my journey started. And from 2010 to 2011 to 2012, then I got awards. And then I was like, oh, that means this thing is really serious. I never thought I wanted to actually go into it as a profession. But as the day went by, I saw that I was really hungry and passionate about it. And the doors started opening. People started loving what I do. DFID UK called me and said, oh, we love what you do. Can you photograph for us? I said, from UK, an email from a UK organization to me in Igondo, on the streets of Igondo. I was like, this is really serious. And from there, I started pushing, kept pushing, started looking for the areas of photography that people were not really focusing on. So I did wedding photography, I did naming ceremony photography, I did all sorts of photography. But I looked for a niche. And that niche was photojournalism. And I realized that most of the top Nigerian photographers weren't paying attention to that. And that's what drives me. I always love to find a problem and to provide solutions to that problem. So I saw that the photojournalism space in photography in Nigeria was kind of, needed a little more professional push. And that was how I focused on it. And that was how I went to Ekiti to photograph election, went to Osun to photograph election. And I just started taking anything about political photography and photojournalism, paid so much attention to it. And in 2014, the APC National Convention, I found my way there. My friend said, it's not possible, they won't allow you. I said, I'm going to go there and I'm going to create images. The drive to create amazing images and to also show that there are talented photographers from Nigeria who can do amazing things was what pushed me. And from there, I was picked to join the presidential campaign. And from there, I didn't know they were watching. They were watching the passion, they were watching the energy, and here I am today, photographing the president for 6 years.
Interesting. Well, taking pictures is what you do, which actually goes beyond clicking the shooters. No doubt, photography has taken the center stage in journalism, as well as the social media space. What makes this form of art different?
I think for me, photography communicates reality.
Okay.
And if there's anything you take away, they say the way you sit is the way you appear, So, and this is why it's still relevant and will always be relevant. It tells stories. It communicates to people. You see, you believe. And one of the reality that has made photography also stand the test of time also is it preserves history.
Okay.
When we want to talk about history today, the best way to talk about it is say, oh, okay, what happened in 1960? Can we see images of what happened those days? Can we see images of what? Images stick to the mind. Images stay, even if you want to train your children these days, you want to bring out images. Once they see it, it's like the image glues on people's mind. And that's one of the key things that makes photography very relevant. And it preserves history. It preserves history. And one of the key things that makes the world go around is our ability to look at where we are coming from. And to then, see how we can work on where we are coming from to take us to where we are going to. And I think that's one of the things that makes photography very, very outstanding.
Outstanding. How can it be used as a tool of change, considering the times we are in, not forgetting the challenges the world is grappling with?
I think one of the things is we need to start and to continue, because there are few people already doing that, to start, to continue focusing on the focus. The world needs the right conversation. Every country in the world has its own challenges, but they don't focus on just their challenges. They focus on what is working. A lot of times, for us to bet change, especially in this part of the world, we need to start using photography as a tool for promoting who we are as a people, for promoting our culture, for promoting the good things about us. Nigerians are amazing people. Nigerians are brilliant. The world wants to come and celebrate our culture, our attire, our mannerism, our food, our style of living, our party, our everyday living, our tourism sites, our museums, our monuments. But over time, we focus on the problems. Thumbs up to people like Mr. Dayo Adedayo, who traveled the whole country to tell the story of Nigeria. And he did a book called Nigeria. And I followed his footsteps throughout the COVID period last year. I went around the whole country, 36 states, visited villages in the toughness of conditions, because I needed to say, I'm going to tell the story of Nigeria. And I went around telling the story of what we have as a people. I think over the years, we've not focused so much on that, especially in recent times. And I mean the digital age, where a lot of people in my own generation are coming from. And also, the ones that are doing it have also not been given enough platform to project what they are doing. Bringing in a new crop of photographers who would say, let's sell our own market. Let's sell Nigeria. Let's sell Africa. And thumbs up to everyone. And you are out there, you know yourself that you've been pushing Nigeria. You've been pushing the African message. You've been pushing the Nigerian narrative. The future is ours, and the future is now.
The future is now. Okay, my next question is quite on a lighter note. I know women love to take pictures, and I believe you're in a better position to answer the question. What is the relationship between women and pictures?
Women love beauty. They love to see themselves, and a woman will tell you, no. And that's why as a photographer, you're very careful about photographing women, because once you photograph a woman, don't show her. If you show her, she's likely to tell you, oh, why do I look fat? Oh, why does my stomach look, why is my stomach bulgy? And everything. So as much as possible, and it's interesting because women celebrate their beauty. They love their beauty. They always want to look good. And one of the things you can do for a woman to make sure you photograph her well, because it also increases their self-esteem so much. Okay,
before I let you go, photography is a language which uses visual elements in lieu of words. So what will be the future of photography? Let's say in 20, 50 years to come?
Photography is going to change. Photography is going to change the world. One of the key things that photography will do is photography is going to merge so much with the new generation technology. Photography, and I'm talking to photographers out there, you need to own your onions. You need to step up your game. It's time for us to begin to think of how best we can be prepared for the next coming 5 years, 10 years down the line. Photography will not be played as it is today. Photography would have to merge with technology. How do we present images? We're talking about photo albums now. In 10 years, photo albums might not be relevant. We're talking about framing images. In 10 years, that might not be relevant. And it's time for us to begin to step up our game as well, to begin to prepare ourselves for that 10, 20 years. And guess what? A lot of photographers over the years, especially from Nigeria and Africa, started this as passion projects. But we need to go back and start educating ourselves, especially where the world, people are already going to obtain degrees in photography, and they're already going to read so much, and they're buying books, and they're studying so much in photography and looking for the next innovation in the area of photography. We need to also step up our game and begin to prepare for that, the coming years. Photography will not be the same again. Imagine what will happen. Maybe in the next 10 years, it's just a chip or something you just put in your eyeballs and you're photographing. But we need to be prepared to meet up with that global standard in the nearest year.
Bayo Omoborewo, official photographer to Mr. President and founder Unabashed Creativity Foundation. Thank you so much for your thoughts.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you very much. And that's it on the Media Review segment.
And that's it for this episode of the program. Do join us same time next week for more on Insights. My name is Nnamdi Odipo.
And I'm Elizabeth Omori. Stay safe.